cut then to the grid here. We've got Harley McCabe on pole from Luca Hopkins, Henry McCartney, Zach Weston, Ruben Bray and Arnie Carr. Very close battlers in that first race. Laken Payne in there, Daniel Stevenson, George Bowes, Ralph Croft, Izzy Carter and Cameron Ancliffe. Monty Hillier, Dan Deering, Kobe Garrett with no time lines up at the back. But like you say, sealed engines is something you see a lot in the world of karting. And the sealed engine, it's there just to make sure that these bikes, even off the shelf, they can be competitive.
Yeah, exactly that. Competitive. Everyone's the same. The rules are, they're fairly strict on that. They can't actually really do anything to the bike. The bikes are pretty standard. So that just means that it's down to the rider now, and not about who's got the biggest wallet from the parent side of things or anything like that. It's about the talent of the rider. So that was something that really floated my boat. And when I brought it to Alan at the BMB, he was absolutely up for it straight away as well. So it's fantastic to see these out. I loved watching race 1, and I'm really excited to watch race 2 now.
Always trouble on the line. I think has he just lost the engine?
I think Monty at the back there, I think he stalled the bike, and George Bowes just in front had done the same thing.
Oh, so this is all tense moments now, of course, isn't it? When the riders are lining up, they've just got to make sure they're all clear. And I think he might have just lost the engine there.
Yeah, I think even Harley's now stalled it as well, or run out.
A little bit of trouble on the line here, but hopefully we'll get that sorted out in just a moment. These things do happen, of course, and well, I think we're all ready to go now. The rider's ready. Green flag is about to go up, and Ohvale race number 2. First time, of course, for 2020 in the UK gets underway. Oh, it's a good start. They're all away well, and they charge into this lovely first right-hander, nice wide corner. And we were saying earlier to some of the other riders who've joined us on the mic, this first corner, touch wood, I would say, of course, you never want to jinx these things. It is quite a good starting area, and they do seem to be riding well. Yeah,
it's quite a fast turn 1, which is always good for the start. Everyone's obviously very close together, and it's all quite tight. So always a fast corner at the start is good for racing. If it's tight, then that's where all the problems tend to happen. But everyone's nice and cleanly away like they were in race 1, which is great to see. And I think it's going to be a real good battle again between Harley, Luca. Maybe Henry might be able to just sneak in and keep it with him this time.
Henry McCartney's got away well, and he's trying to tag onto the back of Luca Hopkins. These two riders were hammer and tong in the first race. Here they come. You can see it's a fantastic aerial shot of that tight final hairpin, the penultimate corner. Down the finish straight they go, and let's see what Hopkins can do. He sets the fastest lap of the race on that first lap, but Harley McCabe, who rode so well in the first race, has got the jump on the field. It's all still pretty close on that first lap. McCabe broke away in the first one, but couldn't quite break away from Hopkins, who certainly kept him honest in that first race.
Yeah, Hopkins, Luca really kept him kind of honest all the way through the race, and to be honest, watching from the outside, Luca looked like he had a bit more pace, and then when the back markers got involved and Luca managed to get through on Harley, it then kind of roles reversed, and Harley actually looked stronger than what Luca did. So obviously it's always a little bit easier if you're following the rider in front, or you can always use them as a bit of a judge. So it's interesting to watch. These guys are all still learning. They're all very young. They're all between kind of 8 years old and 12. Some of them have got some good experience, like these guys at the front. They've got quite a bit of riding experience underneath them, and some of the guys further down the field, not quite so much. But that's the whole point of the class, to bring these riders on and to teach them how to ride a proper race bike.
Well, Hopkins certainly looking good here. One thing I have noticed actually is during the day, sometimes it's almost better to be in second place sometimes and not make the pass too early, because a clever rider will just sit there, just watch this race leader, like we're looking at Harley McCabe at the moment. Perhaps Hopkins, he may want to perhaps just stay there in second for a while, just learn from McCabe and see what he's doing here and not show his hand too early.
Yeah, exactly that, and I think that's what was really happening in race 1. It was only the fact that they caught a back marker and Harley got kind of caught up in it, and Luca didn't, so he just kind of took the advantage while he had it. But it's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out. I'm sure the back markers are going to come into play again, but that's all just part of racing, and the riders have been really clean actually. They've been really good with all the other guys they've been passing, so it's been really good to see.
Dan Deering, the rider in 14th place, holds his line as the leading group make their way through. And let's see, the gap just under 0.2 of a second as Harley McCabe sets the fastest lap of the race, but there really isn't much in it at all now. And interesting to see now, look at the third place man, number 31, Henry McCartney. He seems to have picked up the pace here now. He couldn't quite get involved with the leaders in the first race, but he's got away well in this one. He's not too far behind that leading group.
Yeah, he's just losing a couple, not even quite 0.2, just over a tenth on that last lap, so he's absolutely picked his pace up. So we'll see if he can pull himself up to them front two. Like I say, it's always easier to follow than it is to lead. It's very, very difficult to lead races, so Harley's doing a great job, but it'd be great to see if Henry can get involved in this little fight as well.
And we're seeing the excitement here of what you might say is a stock-based bike, because they're all the same and it's all down to the rider. And this battle here, we've got, looks like Zach Weston's, Ruben Bray, Arnie Carr in there as well as we head towards the final corner now, the right-hander.
Yeah, I think that's Arnie Carr in 6th, just coming across the line just there. And then we've got Ruben Bray, sorry, Arnie Carr's in 5th, and there's Ruben Bray, Daniel Stevenson, Laken Payne and George Bowes all together. So that's a great little battle, midfield battle there.
Arnie Carr, he's got some pressure here now. He's got to try and break away from this little group of riders. Harley McCabe, Luke Hopkins and Henry McCartney are clear of this battle. Oh, we're switching down the inside. That looked like Ruben Bray possibly. Nice little move there, but doesn't quite come off. Harley McCabe incidentally setting the fastest lap of the race, 51.06, but Hopkins less than 0.2 of a second slower, so there's not much in it, and they're just going up towards the finish line now. Hopkins is back on the charge. Look at them go through, they really are charging. They seem to have broke away a little bit from Henry McCartney, but not by very much. And Hopkins sets the fastest lap of the race, so these riders equal on pace.
I think Henry had a bit of made a mistake on that last lap. He was quite a bit slower than what he was the previous lap, and the other two actually went slightly faster again. So Luca did the fastest lap on a 50.8, which is actually slightly faster than what they did in qualifying. Pole was a 50.89. Luca's just done a 50.85, and I think Luca's actually quite fast with this last section. This last couple of corners and the run onto the start and finish. He looks a little bit stronger than what Harley does. So maybe he's just saving himself ready for the last lap dash.
And we've got some slow riders in front there, so they've got that to contend with as well. One of the things we were looking at, one of the themes earlier, Peter, with the riding as well, is speed is one thing. Of course, lots of riders are quick, but then the racecraft sometimes is another. And this sort of grassroots youth series for these young riders, it's a great chance for them just to learn a bit more about how to race. Of course, pros like yourself, well drilled in racecraft, and this is the learning curve.
Exactly that, and these guys have got much more of a leg up than what I had when I started. When I was racing at this kind of age, although I wasn't even, I was older than these guys when I started racing, so they're well ahead of where I was, but all we had was mini moto racing. So, these guys are actually riding a proper racing motorcycle that's been designed properly and really just feel like a proper superbike. That's why you find a lot of the professionals riding them, like myself, like Richard Cooper, like Lee Jackson, Alex Marquez, Alex Rins. There's loads of them going into the back markers just now, and all these riders are using them because although they're small, they're very, very much like a proper full-size racing motorcycle. So these guys really are learning their racecraft on a bike that feels like a superbike.
Well, that's quite right there. I mean, this is it's a new bike for me really. It's the first time I've been to the mini bikes this year, and it certainly looks the part. And again, some more good racecraft there as McCabe and Hopkins nip their way through those midfield runners. I think it was Laken Payne and Ralph Croft possibly going a lap down, having their own battle. And McCabe pulls away slightly, but still not by very much. A small mistake from McCabe, and that would allow Hopkins right back in there. Just talking about racecraft, I was watching them lap the slower riders before, and really interested to see how well they're coping with the traffic, certainly keeping a cool head as McCabe still leads the way. Hopkins shadowing there in second.
Just want to give a little shout out as well to Kobe Garbutt. He should be here. He was signed up, ready to go. He's been really improving over the last few weeks, and unfortunately had a spill last week and broke his collarbone. So he's here watching today, supporting all his friends in the Ohvale Cup, but unfortunately only watching for him. Fingers crossed he'll be back sooner rather than later, so a big shout out to Kobe Garbutt.
Yeah, that's echoed there, Kobe Garbutt. Get well soon. We hope to see you on track later in the year. Still this battle with McCabe and Hopkins. McCartney still third, dropping the pace slightly from Zach Weston, Ruben Bray, Arnie Carr in sixth, and Bray up to fifth place now.
Luke Hopkins, fastest lap of the race again that last lap, 50.7, and it's over a tenth faster, nearly 2 tenths faster than the pole time from qualifying. So Luke is really on a charge now to try and get that gap back.
Not much in it at all then. Here we go, Ralph Croft and Cameron Ancliffe having a look as they battle on the edge of the top 10. And they are really scrapping. Some good footage here as they make their way through that dogleg hairpin. It really is a lot tighter than it looks. Still McCabe and Hopkins scrapping away, but further down, that looks
great little battles everywhere, all the way down the grid. It's great to see.
And the interest these riders we're looking at here, they were lapped by the leaders a few moments ago, and one of the things I always like to say is these riders, for want of a better phrase, the back markers, they're still having their own race. It's just as important to them as the leaders, and they were sensible getting through the slower traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone's been really showing some great levels of maturity. So I'm really impressed with all the riders so far. They've been absolutely fantastic. Great, was just seeing people getting sat up all over. Cameron got sat up there as Arnie and Ruben went through, but it's no, honestly, all the way through, I'm not just saying it, but all the guys have been absolutely fantastic. So it's great to see. All the parents have been good, which is what I want to see as well. You know, it's all about the kids, it's not about the parents, and everyone's been behaving themselves so far. So far so good.
I'd say that's a good shout out because, of course, we've had this unique situation this year with the coronavirus where races have been put off for so long and everyone's been a bit stir crazy almost, you might say. I think that you almost have in your head that idea that it might have been all hell breaking loose at the first round, but everyone does seem to have been quite sensible today, touch wood.
Well, these guys have all been good, so we'll see what British Superbike turns out in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh, yeah.
But no, it's really, really good. And again, Luca Hopkins, to close that gap, he's just gone faster again, 50.59. Absolutely mega riding by Luca there to pull that gap back to Harley.
Let's have a look at Luke Hopkins, and he is faster at the moment, but he can't find a way through. He tries, though, into the hairpin. That was a brave move there. Didn't quite come off as they make their way towards that penultimate corner. This corner here, it's an interesting part of the track. So you've almost got to set the pass up 3 or 4 corners in advance as Hopkins again has a look onto the final lap.
It's going to be interesting now. You know, this is the last lap. Harley's not seen Luca all the way through, and Luca knows exactly where Harley's strong and where he's not. Where maybe he could make a pass or where he couldn't. So we're going to see now if Luca's been able to find a way through and make that lunge in.
Here we go into the tight left-hander, the first of the real obvious overtaking opportunities here. This lovely left-hander carry a lot of speed through there and shadow all over the place now. Luca Hopkins trying to find an opening as they go into the dogleg. Looks like McCabe's got that line covered as they go through down past the pits, and this is going to be the last realistic. Oh, he almost stands the bike up there. Hopkins really going for it into the hairpin. Doesn't quite come off, so he's going to have to try and line him up now onto the finish line straight. Hopkins tries the outside, cuts to the inside, but it's not going to be enough as Harley McCabe takes the win. And I'll tell you what, Hopkins second place there, but certainly not for lack of trying.
Absolutely not, you know, and fantastic riding by both of them. Really hard for Harley there because he's out front. He's just got to keep doing his thing. He knows there's someone there. He'll hear them, but for him to keep his head, he didn't make one mistake the whole way through that race. That's a really impressive, mature ride from Harley. So absolutely well done. And Luca, just unfortunately, couldn't quite find his way through. You know, it's just one of them things. We've said it earlier, or you said it earlier. It's not the easiest track to pass on, that's for sure. But these guys, they're trying their best, and there was no last-minute lunges, and they all went wrong. So well done for Luca and also for Harley as well. And I think was it Henry that ended up in third? Yeah, Henry was in third. Zach Weston fourth, Ruben in fifth, Arnie Carr in sixth, Dan Stevenson seventh, George Bowes in eighth, Lakin and Payne in ninth, Ralph Croft in 10th, Cameron Antcliffe, Monty Hillier, Izzy Carter, and Dan Deering's just coming across the line now. It's his first time on tarmac, so nice and steady away for Dan's, but done actually a great job, and absolutely great to see.
There we are. So Pete Hickman, of course, the man behind the Ohvale series in the UK, and perhaps just putting a rider's head on for a moment. What's it been like out there for yourself today?
It's been all right, to be fair. I keep getting beaten though. I don't like it.
What happened to that previous race was interesting. You were closing up on the leader, and then
I actually lost my knee slider. I've got excuse. All races have got a good excuse book. I lost my knee slider on lap 1. I clipped the curb down here on one of the last corners, and that was kind of the end of my race, really. You can't really ride properly without it, but I kind of dropped back to have a bit of a race with Jordan, and then Dan, I think, was thinking the same thing, so he was dropping back as well, so I thought maybe I could catch Dan unawares, but Reese unawares. So.